Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. On this channel, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency and the new financial system. Hit that like and subscribe button because it certainly helps the channel. We got some great stuff today coming from Dark Defender, Smoke Dog, Eleanor Tourette, and more. But before we jump into the news, let's take a look at pricing. Bitcoin, nice to see it at above 65,000, sitting at 65,836. Ethereum sitting at 2,693. That's the highest that's been in a while. Solana sitting at 157 and XRP sitting at 58, almost 59 cents. So slowly the market is working its way up. Let's jump into some news. And first up in the news is Emily. Emily's got a video here from Vladimir Putin, and it says BRICS is working on our own independent payment system free from political pressure, abuse, and external interference. XRP would be in the top contenders list if BRICS countries choose a digital currency for their next payment system. BRICS is, of course, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and there's more countries that have joined already and others claiming they want to join. But let's take a listen here to Vladimir Putin on the new financial system taking effect in Russia.
Including within BRICS, we're working on shaping an independent payment system free from political pressure, abuse, and external sanctional interference. In this regard, I'd like to remind you that this year, BRICS was joined by new participants, that is Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia. With this, the share of our association in global GDP has reached 36%. And the population of the planet has reached 45%. And BRICS has tremendous potential for joining of new participants, and such drive of stakeholders from different continents can only be welcomed by us, and will support it, including.
All right, thanks for that post by Emily there. Let's move on to Dark Defender, who says a star is formed and we will see the nebulous light. XRP breakout is imminent. Get ready, XRP army. He shows a chart here showing the potential breakout for XRP. These technical analysis guys, it's not an easy gig, but they put their opinions on the line here, and good for Dark Defender. Let's hope that breakout is in fact imminent. Moving on to Mr. Man, he says Canada will be launching its real-time rail payment system by 2025 with industry testing in 2026. Let's take a listen to this gentleman, Ron Morrow from the Bank of Canada.
Payments Canada recently indicated the system should be ready for industry testing in 2026. Once it's up and running, the RTR will open up a world of new possibilities, not the least of which is linking real-time payment systems across borders. This could have innumerable benefits for countries like Canada and the United States. We are each other's largest trading partners. And linking real-time payment systems would give individuals and businesses the ability to move money across the border instantly and seamlessly. It could have innumerable benefits for countries like Canada and the United States. We are each other's largest trading partners.
Innumerable benefits. This is coming, folks. This new system of blockchain and tokenization. It's happening. You're hearing more and more news about this. Let's move on to Smoke Dog, who's talking about Ripple's stablecoin here. He says, yes, RLUSD will complement XRP by driving its adoption through DeFi. The reserves of RULSD will be managed by traditional regulated financial institutions like Standard Custody, which Ripple bought, which will enhance the stability and trust of Ripple's stablecoin. Says here in the article that he highlights, this will give Ripple a competitive edge in markets with low liquidity Unlike XRP, the RLUSD stablecoin is not intended to compete, but to complement XRP, driving its adoption through decentralized finance, DeFi, and institutional investors. Standard Custody, which Ripple acquired earlier this year, will manage the RLUSD reserves, ensuring stability and trust. Moreover, Ripple has laid the groundwork for real-world assets tokenization. He goes on to highlight here in the rest of the article, the digital version of real-world assets may involve 256 trillion of real-world assets and has already started to be implemented in real estate, commodities, securities, and fine art. So it's already under work. We are just waiting for the big institutions to take part in this. Moving on to Eleanor Tourette. She says here, a former SEC governor lawyer, former SEC lawyer who recently left the agency tells me the SEC will probably appeal Judge Torres's July 2023 ruling concerning the XRP Pragmatic sales in the Ripple case, partly because everyone over there at the SEC truly believes that the decision is not accurate. Well, we shall see if this gentleman is right or not. Again, the deadline is fast approaching, October 6th or 7th it is, so they're going to have to make a decision by that time. Moving on to Mikkel here, he shares a video. This is an older video with Brad Garlinghouse talking about XRP and the transaction speed. Let's take a listen to this.
This is why XRP is better than USD for moving money.
These transactions are happening so fast, you're talking about seconds, that one of the kind of red herrings here is people like, hey, I had bank executives say to me, look, we're not going to use cryptocurrencies, there's way too much volatility. Mm-hmm. And I let them get that out, and then I say, okay, wait a minute, let's actually look at the math on that. Mm-hmm. When you do a SWIFT transaction, the average transaction, let's just say, is 3 days. That's 270,000 seconds. Trust me, I did the math on that. If you multiply 270,000 seconds in a low volatility asset if you compare that to 3 or 4 seconds in a highly volatile asset like XRP, it turns out you're taking less volatility risk with an XRP transaction than you are a fiat. Now, what happens with SWIFT is someone is hedging that risk for you. When you do a transaction to dollar, yen, what have you, someone's selling you that currency risk to the settlement of 2 to 3 days from now. With XRP, it's happening so fast, you don't really need to hedge it because you're in and out of it in a few seconds. And so we haven't seen that be an issue.
So no need to hedge in and out because it happens so quickly. XRP, efficient and cheap. Chad Steingraber here says BNY Mellon, first U.S. bank that the SEC has approved to custody crypto. You will one day be able to hold crypto in your traditional bank account just like cash. And he posts an article here that says BNY is using to offer custody services for digital assets. Could be used beyond the Bitcoin and Ether exchange traded funds, the ETFs, the bank is considering, according to U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler. So Gary Gensler is letting BNY, custody these assets, but the Fed has shot down other banks like Custodia Bank and Caitlin Long from doing this. They're letting the big boys get in ahead of the smaller players so they can continue control of the banking system. This article goes on to say earlier this week, the bank acknowledged that it had presented a plan to the SEC's Officer of Chief Accountant to custody those two assets in a way that would protect customer funds in the event of bank insolvency. The agency provided BNY with a non-objection to the plan, a regulatory term that gives comfort to the bank that its structure won't fall afoul of the agency's requirement that banks reflect the value of digital assets they custody on their balance sheet. BNY previously told Bloomberg News that the SEC's non-objection was specific to the ETF use case. So specific to the ETF use case for now, and we will see what happens. No one is above the law here, post from Digital Asset Investor. He quotes Gary Gensler, "No one is above the law." Gary was the one writing the checks, he says. Did he label the Perkins coy payment legal advice? When does he face justice since no one is above the law? Let's listen to this video here quick with Gary Gensler.
That was not, no one's above the law. That's our system. Whether it's securities laws, whether it's other laws.
Hey, real quick, last question. I think it might have came up. You were Hillary Clinton's CFO in the campaign, right?
It's part of my history.
Were you? Yes or no?
In 2016.
Did you facilitate the payment for the Steele dossier since you were CFO of the Hillary Clinton campaign?
Sir.
Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes or no?
That was not.
You're under oath, Chairman Gensler. Yes or no?
I know. I was not something I was aware of.
I yield back the rest of my time.
Welcome back. So is it accountability? The Federal Election Commission is now fining Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee over the way it paid a firm to produce the notorious Steele dossier. The Clinton campaign has been fined $8,000 and the DNC slapped with a $105,000 penalty after a 2016 letter revealed that they violated campaign finance rules. The FEC says both parties failed to properly report payments for opposition research and the production of the dossier, instead labeling the payments legal services. Former President Trump now asking, where do I get my reputation back? Dagan McDowell,
So I'll leave it there. It's a longer video, but essentially they were convicted of wrongdoing and they had to pay a fine of $8,000. Not a lot of money. You don't hear about fines this low. I mean, every fine that the SEC gives out, they're getting hundreds of $1,000s back in return if the institutions are found guilty. So seems pretty light. Let's move on to Bitcoin Teddy here. He posts, "Holy shit, we are literally living in a simulation. If this video doesn't convince you to buy Bitcoin, you will never understand it." Take a listen to this.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds. Right, because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Now we will see you on the flip side.